Thanksgiving. For America, it's the day that most of us recognize as the day where we all eat obscenely large amounts of food and force ourselves to interact with relatives who will inevitably ask us all of the same mind-numbing questions about school, work, and our relationship status. Surrounding Thanksgiving are stereotypes involving turkeys, pilgrims, overeating, football, and more. Today we will be taking a look into 5 common Thanksgiving myths and the reality behind them. First up, the myth that Thanksgiving has been celebrated every year since 1621. Many people believe that Thanksgiving has been celebrated every year since its first occurrence as a joint feast between Pilgrims and Indians. But, up until the 1940s, Thanksgiving actually had a spotty history of being celebrated at all. After the first Thanksgiving, commonly thought to have taken place in late September or early October, there were periodic celebrations of Thanksgiving for good harvests among the 13 colonies, and the first national proclamation of Thanksgiving was given in 1777. Up until the outbreak of the Civil War, there was a random assortment of national days of prayer, humiliation, and Thanksgiving. Some presidents issued them every year, and some never did at all. Second, the myth that the first Thanksgiving was about 2 different peoples coming together in gratitude. In reality, the first communal dinner between settlers and natives was actually a harvest festival. Any organized giving of thanks to God would have been a strictly religious service that was for white people only, with no frivolity or joy allowed. It's far more likely that the settlers were enjoying the feasts and games and celebrated a good harvest when the natives came by, drawn by a noise and shooting. They were allowed to stay, and a myth was born. Third, the myth that turkey makes you sleepy. This one is more so a misconception than an actual myth. The idea is that the tryptophan in turkey makes you sleepy, which, in reality, this is technically true, but not in the sense that you're probably thinking. The tryptophan in turkey does help create serotonin, which is a key hormone in regulating sleep, but the turkey would need to be eaten on an empty stomach and won't actually reach your brain if you eat too much other food. The sleepy feeling from eating a lot of turkey is more likely a combination of confirmation bias, exhaustion from a long day of being around family, alcohol consumption, and the general sleepiness that comes from eating too much and needing blood diverted from the brain to the digestive system. Fourth, the myth regarding how Black Friday got its name. Legend says that Black Friday was named from either being the day slaves were freed or the day that stores went into the black for the year. But in reality, the Black Friday name is one of those things that nobody can quite explain the origins of, though we know quite a bit about where it didn't come from. For one thing, it absolutely has nothing to do with slaves. It was first referenced in 1951 in a newspaper article, and didn't even refer to shopping, only to being a day when numerous employees called in sick. It later was used derisively in Philadelphia to refer to the giant crowds and traffic jams that resulted from post-Thanksgiving shopping. And the reference to stores being finally in the black didn't appear in the media until the 90s, long after the term had passed into the common vernacular. And finally, the 5th Thanksgiving myth, the beloved Thanksgiving dinner menu. The myth is that we eat turkey, cranberry sauce, stuffing, and pumpkin pie on Thanksgiving because the Pilgrims ate it. The reality is that our traditional Thanksgiving menu is based much more on what's generally served at New England fall festivals, and has become greatly customized by region. Depictions of the original Thanksgiving include mentions of fowl, but not turkey in general. Pumpkin might have been served, but not in any congealed pie form, while local vegetables and fish would have been prominent in place at the feast. Also, sweet potatoes weren't even introduced into American diets until long after the Pilgrims landed in New England, being popularized by Spanish settlers returning to Europe from South America. And there we have it, 5 Thanksgiving myths for you to think about while you're pretending to care about football instead of silently counting down the minutes until your grandma's Thanksgiving feast hits the dinner table. Thanks for joining me, and have a lovely Thanksgiving!